My name's Adeel, and I'm running for VP of Cavendish, and I've been at this university for about 4 years now, and simple as it is, I've come in when the fees were about 3,200, and you guys are literally paying like more than I ever would expect to, and I just feel that, you know, you guys should really get your money's worth, so that's it.
Thank you. Moving on. Suzanne?
Okay, quite simply, my name is Rebecca-Patrice Grossett, and I'm running for the position of Vice President of Cavendish. I'm currently a third year studying cognitive neuroscience.
Okay, thank you. Tom?
Hi, I'm Tom Dean.
Guys.
Hi, I'm Tom Dean. I'm currently going for Vice President of Cavendish, and I'm a third year in computer science.
Hello, my name is Suzana. I'm a third year biomedical science student, and I'm also running for the Vice President of Cavendish.
Hi guys, my name is Usman, and I'm running for the Vice President of Cavendish. I'm a final year Business Information System student.
Okay, so we're gonna tackle the elephant in the room first. Tom. We're gonna tackle the elephant in the room. Tom, you offered to take a pay cut, a massive pay cut. Some might view this as an attempt to gain votes. Is this feasible, or?
If you work it out, a sabbatical officer gets paid around about £23,000 a year, there or thereabouts. By deducting £6,000, that brings me up to £17,000 a year. Divide that by 56 weeks, and the hours, it actually turns out you work 40 to 42 hours a week at living wage, $7.55. Why should I be paid more than any student survives on? The average student loan is between £6,000 and £9,000 a year. Why should I be paid 3 times as much as that? Anybody?
Okay. Usman, aren't graduate opportunities dependent on the overall student experience at Westminster? Should you not focus on improving the present rather than focusing on enterprises outside of university?
Sorry, what?
I'll repeat the question, sorry. You said, aren't graduate opportunities dependent on the overall student experience at Westminster? Should you not be focusing on improving that rather, improving that in the present rather than focusing on enterprises outside of the university?
No, my manifesto, I've clearly stated that I want to boost employability. I've really pushed on societies, really supporting societies and sports teams, so students can gain a sense of community to help them become more employable. So that involves internal work experience. I haven't spoken anything about external. I've spoken internal work experience. I've spoken about bringing companies in who are from the biological-based science courses and to the IT course companies such as Microsoft, such as Accenture, KPMG, and people from the NHS to come into our university, give talks to our students, to empower them, to give them career guidance on how they can get the career that they want and that they desire.
Thank you. Suzana, you focus a lot on improving courses and increasing staff-student engagement. How exactly would you go about this, given the lecturers are already stretched and the situation is out of the SU's hands?
Well, lots of staff, they have free time on their hands. They do have, because just recently, about 2 weeks back, we had a big biomedical science event, and it was a big success. It was just for biomedical science. We had about 60 students who turned up, along with 10 staff. We have only about 20 biomedical science staff on the course. What was the next question?
Okay, sorry. Next question is for Adeel. There's a lot of talk about working with other universities, but it can sometimes be dangerous because you start to compromise the needs of the students. How would you make sure Westminster students remain the top priority?
It's one of my 4 policies is big on collaboration, as simple as it is. You say it is dangerous, I say it's more productive, and it can really engage students with what other campuses in other universities are doing, because we need to have a measure of what we are as a university, as in our league ranking as it is, and see, how far behind, or, take on good initiatives, just as Tassim was talking about. Collaborations is a big thing on my manifesto.
I mean, it's all well and good to collaborate, but you are applying for VP of Cavendish campus within the University of Westminster. So how would you ensure that collaborating with other unis, that the priorities of the students is what comes first?
My university campus is simple as it is, a science and technology institute, and I want to make it one of the leading ones as it is. No matter how hard the job is, I want to dedicate it to those two things that we do, and there are other universities that do it better than us, but I want to strive towards the key points of the core things that everybody actually studies, whether it's computer science or, as it is in myself, a mixture involving business.
Okay, thank you. Rebecca, you mentioned about making psychology feel welcome. What hurdles do you see could be involved in that move, and how would you resolve them? Well,
at the moment, there's obviously not the space or the facilities there for psychology students. So obviously, we'll be involving a lot of students. We'll have a lot of student involvement going towards the new facilities there. So whether that be with just talking to faculty members and saying what you think needs to be put in place. I've been speaking to students myself, so they'll be needing things like psychology cubicles where they can do their testing, for example, for master's students, for example. Also, I've been speaking with the head of psychology because having foreseen this moving the psychology students from Regents to Cavendish, which I don't think any of my competitors have actually mentioned. So either they don't know or it's not been widely. Well, you didn't mention it, so.
I know that.
Anyway, but well, I've actually been speaking to the head department, and we have a lot of plans, a lot of great plans in place to make sure that they feel welcome. Things such as introducing psychology relative to other courses like computer science and like the technologies that you have there, like biomedical science, and how things that they're developing in their fields can actually be affected in psychology.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So this next question goes out to everyone here. The issue of social space is a long-running one and has been mentioned by most of the candidates. How feasible is this, and how would you go about gaining one? I'm going to start with...
Well, recently the university have acquired some space around the campus. They've acquired the Tavern Pub, and they've also acquired the Polyclinic. So that means more space for students to actually just hang out. I think social space is a big thing for Cavendish for a number of years. When you come to Cavendish, when you don't study, then you come there, it's just like, where am I supposed to relax? Where am I supposed to just chill? It does create a bad environment because you have no place to just relax and just be lazy for 5 minutes or just not work. So I think with the current university plans and the increased funding, that this is a positive idea, which can actually be seen physically. So I will be pushing for it as well, because I've been a student at Cavendish for a number of years. I think this is a pressing matter which can see the day of light.
An idea. Miriam's actually put in a lot of work to make sure that it is something that is being done. So can we get away from the idea of considering it as just something that's not feasible or not going to be put in place? It's already being put in place, and there are already plans put in place to make sure it happens. So it will happen, and it can happen as long as you put the right person in place. What I'd like to also address is that, having spoken to a lot of relevant parties myself, I know that, for example, areas such as the spare areas you have above second floor, third floor, that are just being used at the moment for desk areas or for computers or for chairs, can easily be changed into maybe just introducing some bean bags or something similar to they have at Harrow campus. I mean, cheap alternatives to things like that can actually make a great difference to the campus.
You mentioned about taking away the computers on the 7th floor.
Mm-hmm. I didn't say take them away as in completely. There's obviously computer labs there, so that would be used.
What I'm saying is, when I mentioned that the university has got in place, they bought the pub behind the Cavendish campus, would it make sense to take some of them away when you've got 800 more students from psychology coming in, needing more facilities? Are we going to be more stretched that way?
No, not necessarily, actually, because for the plans, after moving psychology to Cavendish, there'll be plans put in place already to make sure that they have the equipment they need. So regardless of what we take away from there already, there'll be more in addition. Okay. So that won't actually affect it.
Moving to Suzana, back to the question about social space, how would you like to implement a change in?
Well, like like I mentioned in my manifesto, there is a lot of space outside the pavilion, which is not being used. If we could introduce a retractable shades, that would save. Lots of students could then go outside, even if it was raining. You could sit in the shade and do your work, or relax, or chat, and just have a good, a good lunchtime at least. And that's the other thing about lunchtime. If you come to Cavendish during lunchtime, you cannot find a place to sit and have your lunch. So if you have all the spaces that are there, if it was a little bit better organized, if they were a bit closer together, I'm sure we could get more seats into it.
Okay, thank you.
And also on the low ground floor, you've seen that there are the wooden seats, the long wooden seats that are there. They just seem to be taking up too much space. If that could be removed and something more compact could be added, that would also increase a lot of the space.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to Tom.
Well, the issue of social space is quite difficult for Cavendish because, as many of you have been there, you'll see that Cavendish has basically got a huge hole underneath it. So there is a huge amount of space that could be utilised, and that is part of the plan for the new building work. We are the last campus to be renovated. The job that they've done here, the job they've done at Harrow and at Marylebone. So I think that the building contractors at the moment are in their final stages and talking to students. I know that they came to see, they actually spoke to Miriam quite a few weeks ago, and a few students put themselves forward to have a chat with them, and they wanted to discuss their ideas and let them know what they think, and that's the most important thing.
And you would implement that?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Okay. And of course, Adeel.
Good enough to say, but I'm going to say, it would say about 2009, which is when I arrived in Cavendish, and from it thereon, I've seen people talking and saying things, but the issue is that when you do go there, it does feel uninviting in terms of to relax. I want to know is one thing, is that why does this campus have all the things already and one has to lag behind? Why does my campus have to lag behind other campuses? I just feel that's just unacceptable when everybody can have this beautiful place here as it is. And when I go to Cavendish, things are still in plans for how many years are we talking? Okay. 4, 5 years. Okay. They're still in plans. And so, voting for me, I want to put something into action straight away. It's talking for me is not good enough anymore.
It's already in action.
Yeah.
Okay. Already in action. Right. Have you got the multi-million-pound budget to pay for it? Have you got? No, you haven't. The university is paying for it. They are asking the students their opinion. That is the most important part of the building process, making sure that there's a space there what students are happy with. There's no point giving them an empty room and saying, there you are, they have what you want, because that's not how it works.
That's not entirely what I said as well. It's as simple as it is. Plans have been in place, and they've been in place for many years.
It has been confirmed by the university that the polyclinic has been purchased, the pub behind the university has been purchased, so it is in place. We are not all here saying, we all desire social space, we're all students from Cavendish. We all accept that it is a progress that's taking place.
Understandable. If you want to help out with construction, I'm down to do construction as well. We can do this together, because I just feel it's been done. It's going about for too long,
Okay, thank you.
No comment.
We're going to go back to one of the points that we spoke with at the beginning. I just want to get your reaction to what Tom said about taking a pay cut. Do you guys agree with that? Would you take a pay cut?
Well, with Tom's stance of it, I think it's a very bold move, but I don't see how the benefit of £6,000 would benefit the student union, because if you put that money into sports societies and all the dragons and all the societies, if you divide that 6,000 into, I believe it's 102 altogether, including dragons and societies, we're looking at £56 per society per team. So I don't see the move when we are getting funding from the university for under £1 million, so it doesn't really equate the £6,000 from the £1 million. Is it a bold move? I respect him for that.
Is that enough though? Is that funding from the university? Does anyone else here think at any point that the university, the student union's funds are too tight? Is anyone here in a society who have struggled to get their printing funds paid for? Anybody?
To be honest though, just to clarify, Cavendish is actually the least likely to join a society or sports So if we're talking about Cavendish directly, for the students that we are going to be not in charge of, but the ones that we are going to be trying to be the front face for, we need to be realistic in terms of what they want. Because if we're up here sitting and telling them what we want, most of us are 3rd years or 4th years or whatever, we're not even going to be the students next year. There's no point in putting in place things that we want because it's not for us. We're actually here for them, and you speak a lot about that in your policy. And I think I actually admire the fact that you've taken a £6,000 pay cut, which is very admirable. But for me, I don't think it's very realistic. In terms of the union, it's actually a charity. I think that's quite well known. The student union is a registered charity, and you don't actually get to decide in terms of where your donation goes. If I wanted to donate to a hospital, I can't say I only want to go towards children with blue eyes. I can't do that. It actually has to be put through a lot of processes. So your donated money, £6,000, will have to go to a board of trustees. They'll have to then vote on that.
It's not. I just want to put it out there that it isn't a donation. Okay? So I'm not personally going to receive that money. At the start of any employment, you sign a contract, and that stipulates your wages. In that contract, I want it written that I'm taking that pay cut. It's not a charity.
Suzana,
I think it's all about smart spending. How you can manage the finances that are given to you. It's not about you giving your part of your salary to them. It's about what's given to you and how you manage that.
Okay. It's not all about the money. We have funding. But I think Cavendish has the issue that we need to promote the SU. What the SU does, what it can do for the students, the societies, what they can create. We have a lack of community because there's not enough promotion of what the SU does within Cavendish. People are not aware of what the SU pod at the front does. They're not aware of what the SU does. They don't know that they can just walk in there and chill out. They can borrow a pen. They can sort of eat their lunch. They're not aware of what the student does. Okay. And it comes back to promotion of what the SU does and what it's about for students.
Adeel,
in terms of the pay cut. In terms of the pay cut, I actually find that very admirable. And I think I'm going to have to say and do the Arsene Wenger thing and say 6,001.
I'm sure that £1 will go very far, very far.
Because at the end of the day, you know, we're here to do a job, and we shouldn't. A pay cut is like a demonstration of what one person is willing to do for another person. So I find it very admirable.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna go out to the audience now for any questions. I'm gonna start with him.
I'm a Cavendish student. Must declare I know Usman and Deok. I just must declare that I know Deok and Usman. My main question is to have a debate about employability. How would you measure your success?
Yep. That's it.
Do you mean actually implementing it, plans to implement it? Yeah, so that's the main point that I've suggested is employability. I've got links with Microsoft, with KPMG, through doing my own work. So I can mention, I want to bring in these companies into the campus to give talks, to tell students about career paths within the companies, graduate opportunities, internships. I also want a career officer within the university to help you, guide you in finding a placement, finding an internship, and finding a graduate scheme. I think we need to inspire our students by inviting leaders of our industries from the NHS, from the IT fields, and really telling our students what we're about, what we do, you know. I think that's what it comes down to, really educating our students and saying how you can get to where you want to get to, how you can get to your chosen career path.
Okay, I'm just going to give you guys a chance to respond to that same question as well.
Yeah, I'll take that as well. In terms of employability, simple as it is, it's fair enough. Big companies can be invited into Westminster, and I'd say that in terms of looking at the grassroots on what we are actually studying on our courses, I think it's all about inspiring the startup, as we call it, the startup and innovation thing that we have more in terms of American universities. I feel that as a science and technology faculty that we are now, and psychology next year as it is, simple, we need to encourage the grassroots of creating. I mean, one thing I found is that we all study a certain subject, and if we look across a different campus, for example, Harrow, we can make the link between one person that's doing a media course and a person that's doing a very technologically heavy course, and see, you know, what sort of collaborations can there be within that.
Okay, thank you. Tom?
Well, you know, especially, I'm not 100% sure about other fields, but in science and technology, employers are always asking for this word, experience. Industrial experience is always very important. So how is a student supposed to get industrial experience when they can't get a job in the first place? It's just one big loop. So why doesn't the university provide an industry-credited way of providing experience, giving them job experience within the university itself? Why not? What could possibly be bad about that?
I agree. I think that's a really good point, and I think that making more opportunities for students is really key, which is why I've included it in my manifesto also. I think one way in which we can do that is advertising more. We have social media, we have Facebook, we have the Twitters. We can do things on our websites where we can say, oh, this apprenticeship has come up and it's relevant to X, Y, Z courses that are at Cavendish. Things that we can actually see that are relevant to us, for us, and that can be publicized so that we are aware of these and we can take on these opportunities should we wish.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna have to move on to the next question. Sorry.
Rather than taking a very publicized and apparently admirable 6,000 cut, why don't you pressure the university for more money rather than doing that?
So,
what's happened to, unfortunately, to this administration, the current SABs at this moment in time, is they've walked into a time where money was misspent, mismanaged, and the university have taken that into consideration and have cut the budget. Wouldn't you? If you thought the money was being misspent, this year the SABs have all worked on making sure that the money is better managed. Yeah, and if I'm honest with you, I think they have done a better job. But the university, it's not going to be a quick thing. The university is going to need trust to be rebuilt. Without that trust, they're not going to go give us an extra £500,000 there, an extra £1 million there. We are in debt to the university, and the only way we're going to get out of that debt is by proving to them that we can be sensible with our money. And in this day and age, this economy that we are all going through, every penny counts.
Okay.
Every penny counts.
Okay, thank you. Next question.
Adeel, you've run 4 times already, is that correct? That's correct, yes. Yeah. What are you going to do differently that's going to make people vote for you this time, considering you haven't won previously?
Well, showing that obviously that you know that I have run for those amounts of times, you can definitely see that there is some sort of dedication towards my campus. And I'm going through a transition period where, you know, I will be going out into the wide open world of work. And what else better to, in terms of contribute than where I, you know, resided for the last 4 years.
In terms of those 4 years, what have you done externally to running for VP of Cavendish? What have you done externally to show that you're making progress in other areas and can bring that to the students?
I think in terms of Cavendish and the people of Cavendish, mine is more of a personal touch and on a personal level, speaking and engaging with people of Cavendish over the years, and I've seen myself grow in confidence as someone who was lacking of confidence, and I like to engage with people that are maybe, you know, making the first sort of steps on what they want to do in their future, and you know, simple as it is, I want to be there as seeing myself in their shoes as I was back then.
Okay, thank you.
Which is the question? What
specifically? Yeah.
It's all in my manifesto. There's 4 points, as it is. It's putting Cavendish first. Cavendish needs to be put first because it's lacking behind other campuses. I feel that's an unfair thing. I'm putting myself forward on that.
Like name.
Brilliant. Brilliant. I admire that. I admire that. I've no question in terms of that she has. And it's about continuing that good work. So.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move on to one more quick question.
All of you have outlined different and alternative ways of tackling these problems and issues at Cavendish. But what do you think is the main issue at Cavendish at this moment in time?
Okay, what I think the main issue, what it comes down to, is that we have a big community and a very diverse community, but we don't have enough methods in place to bridge that gap, to know about different cultures, different societies, different religions. We don't have that awareness, so I think we need to have a bigger play on societies and really support societies to really bring that awareness and bridge that gap from different cultures, different countries, different nationalities, international students, undergrads and postgrads, because I think we are a university representing that. And I think the main issue is that we need to bring the student services out there, telling us that we can help you, we can promote. If you want to make a site about pancakes, you can.
Okay, thank you. Suzana?
I think at the moment there are very minor issues that students have, and overall on the campus there are big issues, but at the time each individual student's issues are very important. And I've gone around, I've talked to students, and they've told me this is wrong with my course, this is wrong with this teaching method, and I want to change that. I want students to have the greatest satisfaction when they study at Cavendish. Also, the other thing is I want the student union to be more interactive with them. I know that lots of students find it very hard to come to the student union and talk to them. This is a big problem at Cavendish. I've heard students, they normally come outside the pod, they stand there, they think, you know, should I actually go inside, should I talk to someone, or should I just go away and talk to someone else? So these things is just student satisfaction, basically.
Thank you. We're going to go to Tom next.
I mean, you walk around Cavendish, and I go talk to lots of other students, and like Suzana said, there are lots of small issues on every course. Every course has got its issues, yeah? But the way I see it is, no student should have to feel like, oh, got to go to Cavendish. Everybody should smile, everyone should be happy when they're there. That's what all part of being at university is about. It's about enjoying your time, yeah? One way we could make this is by perhaps actually getting these issues sorted out straight away, not hanging around.
Okay, thank you.
I think I agree. That's a good point. But I think what's more important is that you focus on how, rather than just saying, okay, I want to make sure that people are happy. I want to make sure that people are employable. We're not actually focusing on how, and I think that it's all very well to waffle around the subject to make people think that, oh, you're making a great point, I want to vote for you, but what are you actually going to put in place to make sure these things can happen? For example, I've been speaking to students, and obviously we know the social areas are a big deal at Cavendish, but things are already put in place. Miriam's done great work, and things are already been put in place, which we are all aware of. So my main goal right now is to focus on the marking criteria. I put that in my manifesto, and you'll see it advertised around the university that I actually feel, and the students have told me personally themselves, they get feedback on their work, and they'll say, oh, you've done a great piece of work, we're giving you a 68. That doesn't make sense, because if it's out of 100, it's a percentage grade. We want people to get higher grades. But we want people to get higher grades because then when you leave university, you get a higher grade, you can go on to a better job, for example. Now, that can increase employability, which will then take up the rankings in university, and that will be better for our university as a whole and for students.
Thank you. And finally, Adeel.
I'd say the biggest issue is just the two words I have is active learning, as it is. In what I mean by that is what we study in terms of the theory, how much of it do we put into practical use on our actual courses? Everybody does our, if you could let me speak, everybody has their own thing that they study and they know that they want to go somewhere in the future. How do we get our course material and take that out of, in terms of on the field and be there, you know, have a future as it is.
Okay, thank you. Suzanne, we're just going to come back to you. We were speaking earlier about employability, but we forgot to come to you. So what are your views on that? How would you implement that?
If you've seen on my manifesto, I want to initiate different societies or kind of like get-togethers where students from each course or the whole department come together and they discuss academic work, they have enjoyable evenings, and at the same time they mix with other courses in this faculty so that they can, you know, they know what are the options in other courses. There might be a student in science, for example, and this person might say, I don't like science anymore, I want to switch over to something else. And if they had the opportunity to speak to computer science students during these get-togethers, they could know, okay, maybe I do like computer science, maybe that's the right path for me. In regards to employability, during these get-togethers, there are information about various placements, studentships that are available, and this can be brought out to students during these get-togethers. So everyone knows what's happening where, what are the options available, and that's just a way for everyone to know what's happening around them.
Okay, thank you. We're just going to grab one more question from the audience.
Hi, thanks very much. I'm a student at Cavendish, and the main issue which faces me is the homophobia that's there. On the very first day of uni, in my first ever lecture, the person next to me called me a faggot, and these things haven't stopped. You know, like I came to uni expecting a really open environment where I could be myself, and I wouldn't be scared in my learning environment, and yet that happens every day in my library, in the Cavendish library. There is a general ethos of homophobia amongst people I study with, including things which are mentioned in this report, such as people discussing actively that gay people should be stoned. And it's all very well you talking about all these issues like social space, but the most important issue for me is feeling safe. And I don't feel safe on Cavendish, and I really want to know how you're going to fix that.
I've been part of the LGBT society. I've known about the LGBT society since I started at uni. I was sort of working with the President Sky a few years ago, and I'm a big supporter of the LGBT rights. I think it's not right and it's unacceptable that you feel safe in a learning environment in 2014. So how we overcome that is by educating people. We can't say, because it is a form of racism. Pardon me? Oh. It's about educating people. What is, you can't just go around doing that, because you could say the same about colour, about racism. It's not right. And we need to educate people. We can't just say, oh, it'll get better. The education will need to be in place to overcome this, so you can actually feel safe in your environment.
Thank you.
I think that's a great point, but I think also in terms of what we can do, because educating people in general should be done around the world. It's not something we can sort it out in one day. It's not something that we're going to be able to say, oh, okay, well, now we're going to put in place tutorials where people are going to feel safe because we've told you to make them feel safe. That's not going to happen. Discrimination happens across the world. I'm a black female. I understand discrimination. I'm sure many of you have felt it, have seen it, and it's not nice. The fact is, it's not nice. Educating people is good, but in terms of what we can do on-site, on campus, there needs to be something, and I do agree, but I think it needs to be more not only student-led, but more student-involved. I think things need to be done that can actually put in place where, things be put in place where students can actually have involvement, and they can say, at Cavendish in particular, because that's where we're running for, here's where you can go if you feel like this. We already have the LGBT society, we already have faith societies, we already have everything where you can feel welcomed. Right. But more in terms of an actual active thing at Cavendish, maybe we can have more society-led things at Cavendish rather than having to come all the way to Regents or go to another campus site.
Move into Tom.
Like Patrice said, it's not, we're all educated. We're all educated people. We wouldn't be in university studying technical degrees, you know, languages, whatever you're studying. We are all educated. We had to get here somehow. I think it's just more making the awareness for saying these sort of things. It's not right. It's not right. Everybody is different, yeah? And that's why we as a society, in London especially, we are so diverse here. That's what makes us great. That's what makes us, remember, you can go to any part of London and meet someone different. And why shouldn't that? Why should somebody who is different be made to feel little, scared? It's not right in any way.
What are you actually going to do about it?
I'd like to work with, I know the LGBT party put on their event a few weeks ago. I know they had an event yesterday. I think all walks of life should be included. Promotion of societies. Everybody should understand each other's culture. For me, coming to London was the biggest culture shock of my life. I'm a little country boy. Yeah, I grew up in a town of about 100 people. Coming to London, for me, I have learned so much, and for me, it's made me a more rounded person. Okay, and I think everyone should have to learn something like that.
You heard about the LGBT society event. Did you actually go to it?
I didn't, unfortunately. I did speak to Jamie about it. I did mention that I wasn't able to make it because I was actually representing for the Dragons yesterday in the rugby team. I did make my apologies, but I also did make myself open to anybody who wants to come speak to me can.
Thank you. Suzana, do you agree with this point that just simply collabing with the LGBT society is enough, or do you feel that you can actually do more?
No, I do agree with both Tom and Rebecca that awareness is very important. It just, I guess, if there are campaigns set about it at Cavendish, just making students more aware about the different groups that are available, that are on site. Yeah, I guess it's just, yeah.
Adeel, do you have a...
I'd say as a diverse university, which is based in central London with about 23,500 people from all walks of life, I think any form of discrimination or you know, segregation or unfair treating of an individual based on their views and beliefs is just not on, as simple as it is.
Okay, but what are you going to do? Let's not repeat ourselves. What are you going to do? Do you have any actual plans to implement any change, any education in terms of that?
We can all go along the collaboration routes in terms of, as discussed, and it's about talking. Have you confronted the people in terms of what was said and things? Is it?
Well, it's very hard to do it.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah. So there needs to be that you know, dialogue with the people that are actually.
No, he's saying not just dialogue. He's saying not just talking. Something to be done.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Some sort of like a system in place, like
thank you.
there needs to be the no platform issue. We can't invite homophobes onto our
Okay.
campuses. That's what
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you.
Guys,
Guys, I'm just going to give you 20 seconds to just make your final points, starting from you.
Hey guys, I want you to vote for me because I want to improve graduate chances of getting employed, so that's through internal work experience, networking. I also want to provide bridge the gap between different societies, different cultures we have, and especially the LGBT society, and that's everyone to feel more of a home. I want it to be a more active campus. It can be very quiet, and I want the student union to have a bigger presence, and I want students to be more aware of what the student union does.
Suzana?
Well, I think you should vote for me because I consider student satisfaction to be the most important issue. And, well, yeah. But the most important thing for me is also to have the course rep system put in place so that student issues can be sorted out on the spot, on their course, in their class.
Thank you.
And also, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tom?
Guys, I think you should vote for me because I'm someone different from the normal guys. If there's a student who needs something and there's a wall between them, I want to be the sledgehammer that knocks it down. I will not take no for an answer from any part of the SU. No.
Yeah? Thank you. Rebecca?
Okay, so I think you should vote for me because I'm not just here to say, you know, oh, I promised you the world and not actually deliver on it. There's no point in giving you hopes and not actually seeing any change. I think you should vote for me because I have a lot of things in place and I'll be updating frequently on what I'll be doing so you can see visible change. Okay. I think you should vote for me because I'm actually here for the students. I know what the students want, not just about sports, not just about, you know, field trips, which, by the way, no one that I spoke to in Cavendish has ever mentioned. But I'm actually doing relevant things for you. That's why you should vote for me.
Thank you.
I think.
Adeel?
I think everyone should vote Adeel. As simple as it is, it's a fair deal that I'm offering. I want open transparency with all the activities that SU do. I want to sort out the way our budgets are put forward. I want to be able to bring along all the collaboration that we have with Cross University. I don't want Cavendish to be left behind from other campuses. And that's it. I can't say anything else.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Please clap for them. Clap for all of them.